In late 2003, there were two name-brand, pocket-sized digital camcorders on the market. For about $1,200, you could get the Sony DCR IP1, which recorded video onto micro-MV tapes and took photos onto memory stick cards. Or for about $1,000, you could get the Panasonic D-Snap SV-AV100, which recorded video and took photos onto SD cards. But if you didn't have that much money to burn, there was another choice of a similar size and appearance, which also records video and takes photos onto an SD card, from another name you may recognize, Gateway. Yes, the same company, originally known as Gateway 2000, best known for selling mail-order PCs in cow-pattern boxes. In 2003, they decided to expand their product line and begin selling consumer electronics, including TVs, DVD players, MP3 players, digital cameras, and the DVS-20 Pocket Multicam camcorder, which came in its own little cow-pattern box. The Gateway DVS-20 Pocket Multicam was introduced on October 2, 2003, at a suggested retail price of $199, $1,000 less than the competing Sony model. To put its diminutive size into perspective, here is the Gateway DVS-20 on top of two of the Hi8 cassette tapes that many people would have been using to record their home videos back in 2003. It takes 2 megapixel digital still photos with a flash and records MPEG-4 video onto either 64 megabytes of internal memory or an optional SD card. It is conveniently powered by 2 ordinary AA batteries and features a flip-out LCD screen. It's only 1.5 inches, so it's rather small, but it can be rotated to any angle, including facing the front, for a self-portrait. It has 2.5 times digital zoom, no optical zoom, and no lens cap or cover, but that little pinhole lens is deeply recessed enough that even if you rub your finger over it, you're not going to contact the actual lens down there. On the front, besides the lens and flash, is the microphone. Inside the LCD cavity is the internal speaker. You have all sorts of controls on the back, and then ports for AV output, USB, and DC input. And rounding out the controls and features is a power and menu button on the top, and a tripod socket on the bottom. The sticker on the bottom says Gateway DV-S20 and has a serial number, but no indication of where or when it was made. It also has a lanyard strap and can be conveniently placed on any flat surface for recording, which you'll probably want to do because it doesn't have any form of image stabilization. Now let's turn it on. Shows a Gateway splash screen and comes to life. Now let me try to make sense of all these controls. In the middle of what looks like a D-pad is the recording button for videos. Down here is the shutter button for photos. The left and right controls are for the digital zoom. The button up here is to turn on or off the flash for taking photos. This one down here is the self timer. It has an OK button that also doubles as a digital zoom button. And here is the playback and pause button, and a button to delete the last photo or video you took. The on-screen indications and menu options will be familiar to anyone who has bought a cheap dash cam or knockoff scamcorder, because I suspect they're still using the same firmware today. So as options for image size of either 1600 by 1200 or 800 by 600, image quality, video quality, which maxes out at a whopping 320 by 240 resolution, which it calls superfine, and then your standard options for exposure, white balance, ISO, and quick view shows the photo you took immediately after you take it. And in the setup menu, your typical options to format the built-in memory or SD card. It's supposed to have beeps, but all I hear from the speaker are just little clicks, so I don't know what's going on with that. LCD brightness, automatic power off, reset the settings, date setup. You can have a date stamp on the photos you take. The video output is switchable between NTSC and PAL, and the frequency is switchable between 50 and 60 Hertz, and you can choose your languages. The built-in memory, 64 megabytes, is good for recording just over 5 minutes of video at that super fine quality of 320 by 240 resolution. And if you dare to point it at anything that's the least bit dark, even under this bright studio lighting, it warns you, low light. In addition to the lack of image stabilization, which I mentioned, it also has a fixed focus lens, so anything that's rather close will be blurry because it can only focus probably about 3 feet away and further. Actually, according to the specifications in the owner's manual, the focus range is 1.2 meters to infinity, or about 4 feet. It has a 2.5 times digital zoom, which obviously reduces the quality the more you zoom in. And by the way, that zoom only works in video mode. It does not work when you're taking pictures. Now how about we take this little pocket-sized camcorder outside and use it to record some video and take some photos. Yes, the Lady in Red, easy listening version courtesy of WCHR 1040 AM in Flemington, New Jersey. Aside from its obviously very limited resolution, the video quality of this camcorder suffers from the obsolete MPEG-4 simple profile codec it uses, which was known for having rather harsh compression artifacts and was not nearly as efficient as the H.264 codec, which superseded it. And as for the actual frame rate of the video it records, that's a mystery. Gateway's press release claimed 25 frames per second, while VLC Media Player claims it's 30 frames per second, and Media Info claims the frame rate mode is variable, while IrfanView says it's unknown. One thing that is for sure is its grainy lo-fi mono audio using a 16 kHz sampling rate and 4-bit ADPCM compression. The motion does seem to be a bit smoother when recording to the built-in memory than when recording to the SD card. So for the best results, I guess you should record to the built-in memory 5 minutes at a time, then copy it across to the SD card when you're done. Although, as you saw there, it still jerks and stutters once in a while. I feel bad for anyone who did as Gateway suggested and threw away their tape camcorder after replacing it with the DV-S20. If it was anything like the Sony Digital 8 Handycam from 1999 that I'm using to record this video, they would have been sorely disappointed. The frame rate is much better when using the camcorder's video output to a TV, although the image quality is still terrible. It can't make up its mind what the exposure should be, and it constantly complains about low light even under bright indoor lighting. And by the way, it uses a 2.5mm AV output jack, so good luck finding a cable for that if you didn't get the one it came with originally. The quality of the photos it takes is thankfully far superior to that of the videos, although with plenty of jaggies and rainbow streaking, they're obviously not truly 2 megapixels. And with the rolling shutter effect of the CMOS image sensor it uses, the slightest bit of movement of the camera while you're taking the photo causes vertical lines to be warped. Gateway branching out into consumer electronics proved to be a short-lived venture and costly mistake for the company. After a few more years of continuing decline, Gateway was acquired by Acer in 2007, and today the Gateway brand exists in name only on Chinese-made laptops sold at Walmart. How about name that tune? Can you name this song?